Hello, I'm Alfred Lambremont Weber speaking to you from the Stop 5G Anti-DEW Directed Energy Weapon Summit. And here to share with you the Model Statute and World Treaty Conference banning 5G, DEW directed energy, and neurotech mind control weapons. You can find out more about this in detail on the internet at peaceinspace.org. That's peaceinspace.org. And you can contact us at peaceinspace.org. This is part of the 5G DEW Call to Action Community Summit, where we're bringing you testimony from targeted individuals and the science that shows you that there's a hidden war using directed energy weapons against our civilian population. And that's in contravention of not only domestic laws in every country listening to this, but also of international laws. The Fourth Geneva Convention against warfare against civilian populations and the International Criminal Court Treaty, which has been ratified by 118 countries, except the major directed energy weapons exporting and using countries, including the United States of America, Israel, China, Russia, and Iran. However, under the ICC treaty, each of these 118 nations and civilians who are targeted by them can sue in their national courts against the United States, Israel, Russia, China, and Iran using these directed energy weapons against us civilians. The title of our talk is Banning Hidden Weapons of Mass Coercion and Depopulation, because we're talking about banning 5G phones and the 5G Internet of Things. 5G is a horror plan for humankind, a horror of depopulation. Banning directed energy weapons, neurotech weapons, scalar weapons, plasma weapons, HARP, and chemtrails, the entire hidden weapons of mass coercion and depopulation, which are designed and deployed now for individual and community assault, for political mind and soul control, and for human depopulation, as we will show you. Play close attention, please. We're going to go through a lot of data. We have limited time, so we've put this in a video so you can pause at each slide in your own time and study these figures and their sources. This is a picture of the late Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, as she walks through an active minefield in Angola, Africa on January 15th, 1997, thereby giving light and life, really launched it, to the 1997 Ottawa Landmines Treaty Conference to ban landmines. Our presentation today is dedicated to the memory of Princess Diana of Wales. Her life spanned from the 1st of July, 1961 to 31 August, 1997. This was the 1997 Ottawa Landmines Treaty Conference, and Princess Diana died and was assassinated on 31 August, 1997. In my opinion, as a former director of the Assassination Research Bureau that helped investigate the political assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, by Israel, and other malefactors, we believe that Princess Diana was assassinated because she stood up and started the Ottawa Landmines Treaty Conference to rid the world of these dreadful weapons of war and to banish them from the face of the earth. And all of that stuff about her boyfriend with the department store owner and the royal family, etc., was a sideshow and a diversion. It's that Princess Diana stood up to stop this planet in which the war industry thinks they can target the human population and then assassinate people who object. This is Dr. Rauni Kilda, former chief medical officer of Finland, assassinated by directed energy weapons on February 8th, 2015, shortly after completing the draft of the EU model statute to ban directed energy weapons. This presentation is directed to the memory of Dr. Rauni Kilda, MD, who by giving her life and light to shine the light upon the EU model statute to ban DEW showed how dreadful weapons of war can be banished from our earth. So to Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, the proper Princess of Wales, and to Dr. Rauni Kilda, who gave her life drafting the statute that you're about to see, we dedicate this presentation. This is the 5G call to action, a community summit to bring together targeted communities, targeted individuals by directed energy weapons, by 5G, the model statute banning 5G directed energy weapons, nano, neurotech, scalar, and plasma weapons, co-drafted by Dr. Rauni Kilda, MD, can be adapted for adoption by International Treaty Conference. That means bringing together all the nations of the world to sign a treaty in one place. This happened in 1997 in Ottawa, Canada, with the Ottawa Landmines Treaty Conference that Princess Diana has successfully launched. And the model statute can be adapted for adoption in legislatures, parliaments, at the international, national, provincial, state, regional, municipal, local, indigenous, and tribal levels, tribal jurisdictions and areas throughout the world. We can ban it from the grassroots up and from the top of the legislative fabric on down, and have enforcement in each of these communities by designated appropriate lawful authorities, and drive these weapons and their profiteering companies and governments and individuals off the face of the earth. The model statute banning 5G directed energy weapons, neurotech mind control weapons, bans the research and development, manufacture, possession, control, deployment, and/or operation of all 5G energy, 5G energy deployment, 5G devices, 5G Internet of Things, and 5G phones. It bans new physics, scalar, plasma, DEW directed energy, and neurotech mind control weapons, and bans their use to torture or entrain human beings, animals, or living organisms in violation of international criminal and humanitarian law, and of course of all national and local and state and provincial laws, including the Geneva Conventions and the statute of the International Criminal Court, which 118 nations have ratified, except the 5 major DEW villains and culprits, the United States, Israel, China, Russia, and Iran, who use DEWs as part of their national policy. Here we have CARE, courtesy of TI's Canada and Philip E. Nielsen, the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, the electromagnetic spectrum is part of what occurs in nature. And here, it can be used for useful things, and it can be used to heal people with advanced healing technologies, and it can be used for weapons. And here, it is being used in plans by the villains and genociders and culprits, as you shall see, behind 5G phones and the 5G Internet of Things, DEW-directed energy weapons, neurotech, smart meters, microwave weapons, and extremely low frequencies. It is being used to harm and depopulate individuals through unseen weapons. Villainous, murderous, crimes against humanity. The International Criminal Court Treaty bans war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. Most of all against unarmed civilian populations by the likes of the corporations and the governments that have put these policies into action. Let's look here at a slide from a 283-page document by Captain Jerry Flynn of Canada's Defense Force, who has 26+ years experience in electronic warfare. This is from a 283-page report presented to the British Columbia, Canada Public Utilities Commission, resulting in the optional individual ban of smart meters in homes, apartments, and dwellings. We don't have a smart meter here in my home, where it's a collective home where 11+ people live, students, professionals, families, where we would be subjected to depopulation and sickening by smart meters because of this evidence presented by Captain Jerry Flynn to the British Columbia, Canada Public Utilities Commission. Let's look at this evidence. This is evidence, not rhetoric and propaganda. Non-lethal microwave weapons, a typical directed energy weapon. Frequencies, 4.5 hertz, causes paranoia. Oh, I've heard a lot of paranoia, how you break up community groups, how you break up families, how you target individuals, how you target harmless children. 6.6, depression and suicide, how you targeted individuals. Once we get into that literature, this is information that one can bring to one city council, one can bring to one state legislature, provincial legislature, national parliament, to pass whatever version of the model statute banning, resulting in a ban on all of these weapons. 11, manic behavior and anger. Hey, I'm telling you, they are getting to me, although they're trying. But after being initially targeted, according to my Disclosure Project affidavit, at the inner ring, Ring E of the Pentagon, meeting with the Assistant Secretary of Defense during Jimmy Carter's role, where I was targeted with directed energy weapons because the White House had just approved the Carter White House extraterrestrial communication study, of which I was director. And then I was targeted there and at Washington National Airport and in New Orleans when I was trying to meet as an advisor to Congressman Henry B. Gonzalez of the U.S. congressional investigation into the assassination of John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, and Malcolm X, which also used mood management in its MK Ultra style assassinations. All of these directed energy frequencies can also cause hysteria, trauma, lust, murder, and cancer. You have heard of all of the school shooting epidemics that occur in the United States. You think that these occur by accident? No, we have complete evidence. In fact, a whistleblower who's an admiral, who's whistleblower from the CIA, whose wife knows my wife very well. They've known each other from the 1980s, has testified publicly that the CIA uses these directed energy weapons to groom and then target all of these school shooters to make them shoot up schools. Why? Because the CIA wants then to level the playing field, completely bring in the obliteration of the Second Amendment and put Americans in FEMA camps without weapons. And you'll see what the end game is. You'll see what the abolition of the end game is. I was an adjunct professor at the University of Texas teaching the Bill of Rights, constitutional law, in the government department, University of Texas, Brownsville, Texas, where they have those children in the cages now. This is a deep psyop that's being done against the US people at the present time. Okay, this is compelling evidence of 8 distinct types of great harm caused by the electromagnetic weapons. This is from Professor Martin L. Paul, PhD, Washington State University. He shows that there's a massive literature providing a high level of scientific certainty. There are 8 psychopathological events, pathophysiological effects caused by non-thermal microwave frequency EMF exposures, meaning directed energy weapons. Number 1, your nervous system. Your nervous system is attacked, including your brains, leading to widespread neurological, neuropsychiatric effects. Number 2, your endocrine system. And that's what differentiates us from single-celled creatures. It produces oxidative stress and free radical stress, thereby amplifying chronic diseases. It attacks, directed energy weapons attack your DNA, attack the DNA at the cellular level, producing single-strand and double-strand breaks in cellular DNA and oxidase bases in all our cellular DNA. These in turn produce cancer and also mutations in germline cells, which produce mutations in future generations. This is how they aim, the perpetrators behind this aim to produce the depopulation. These are Luciferian cults that are trying to destroy the North American population and the world population. Produce elevated levels of apoptosis, which is programmed death cell. 6, lower male and female fertility. That'll produce depopulation. Produce excessive intracellular calcium, and finally attack the cells of our bodies to cause cancer. People have asked, how can we protect ourselves? This is a self-evaluation systems list where you can self-evaluate whether you're targeted by exposure to or targeted by 5G phones or the Internet of Things, by directed energy weapons, microwave, and or electromagnetic EMF weapons. We want to thank you to ourspirit.com for this self-help list. Directed energy weapons. Do any of the following indicators apply to you? This is courtesy of TI's Canada and Philip E. Nielsen. You find that you are suddenly awake at precisely the same time every night, hot needles or stings deep in your flesh, limbs jerking wildly, muscles twitching, forced awakening, can't go by to sleep, very high body heat, extremely powerful itching, which may start as small electrical shocks, very fast heartbeat when relaxing, ringing in the ears, sudden drop in your tracks, fatigue, vibration in any part of your body, non-random traffic through the neighborhood, repeated evidence of break-ins and sabotage, both at your home and at work, repeated instances where it seems others know things about you that could be found out only by bugging your phone, house, or vehicle. If you experience most of the above indicators, you are a victim of direct energy weapons and electronic harassments. Directed energy weapons. What are directed energy weapons? This is courtesy of TI's Canada and Philip E. Nielsen. They're electronic devices to cause sleep deprivation and malaise. They're classified and or unclassified electronic weapons developed by the federal government, military, or private corporations to kill slowly. They're electronic devices used to tetanize muscles, cause strokes, heart attacks, or memory loss, instill fear, rage, or other forms of control over any living being. They're electronic devices which can manipulate hormones. They're patented or unpatented electronic devices developed to control behavior in living beings. They're electronic weapons specifically developed to manipulate the masses. And there are a whole series of illnesses. We're at the 20-minute mark. I've only got 25 minutes. Look at this. Come back and examine this. This is from Deagle.com, U.S. depopulation estimates 2016 to 2025. 2016 population 324 million. Forecast 2025 U.S. population 54 million. That's pre and post 5G DEW full deployment. Gross domestic product in 2016, 19 trillion. Gross domestic product in 2025, 921 billion. This is the Space Preservation Act. You can go to peaceinspace.org and see all of its terms. It was introduced into the US Congress on October 2nd, 2001, just a few weeks after 9/11. It bans everything that you just heard, and it is what the model statute is based on. Just a few short days or weeks after this was introduced, the DOD and the CIA, who are in charge of, on the black budget level, the deployment of these weapons under the DOD memorandum with Janet Reno and Bill Clinton, which authorized the targeting and depopulation of the North American population under NAFTA and its depopulation to reach the 54 million by 2025, gutted this bill. But the bill is still up there. Call every congressman, call their offices, call every senator, and demand that HR 2977, the Space Preservation Act, be reintroduced and passed immediately. The model statute is based on the Space Preservation Act. Has it been successful? I'll tell you right now. The answer is yes. We've got 22 minutes. We've got 3 minutes. On December 1997, the treaty conference model was successful. It was launched by Princess Diana on January 15th, 1997. She was assassinated in August 1997. No good deed goes unpunished by these Luciferian. However, that started. 164 nations have signed. The non-signers, you know, they're the same usual suspects who have not ratified the International Criminal Court: USA, China, Russia, India, Israel, Iran, and others. We currently have 110 million landmines in the ground, 250 million landmines stockpiled, and 5 million a year. When they started, Mozambique, this little African country, had 97,000 landmines blowing off children's limbs. It's called sacrifice children. That's what Satanists do. So Canada, once again, came to the thing and started the landmines ban, which is part of this, so we have to move forward. And we were successful on 2/22/2005, on February 22nd, 2005. Prime Minister Paul Martin, in a famous press conference, said, "I surrender." And it banned U.S. missile defense in Canada. And the Space Preservation Treaty Resolution, which was based on the Space Preservation Act, introduced into the U.S. Congress on October 2nd, 2001, was passed by major Canadian cities, including Vancouver, British Columbia, and others. And on the basis of that, Paul Martin and the Liberal Party and the government of Canada backed out of its secret deal with George W. Bush, another skull and boneser from Yale, and Canada banned U.S. missile defense, another category of weapon which is used for a nuclear first strike in order to blow up this planet like they blew up Tiamat and Mars. No, it's not happening on Earth. So it's been successful in two ways: in the 1997 landmine, and in the 2005 and again 2012 refusal and ban of U.S. missile defense, which is Lockheed Martin, the major directed energy weapon supplier and infiltrator of all things, of all civilian. They infiltrated the Canadian census, the British Columbia ferries, and they've infiltrated city councils in New York State, in Long Island, so that they can perform experiments on citizens in the jurisdictions where they now have taken over the city councils. We have evidence of that. Take action now. Take the SIM card out of and power down your not so smart phone, jail cell phone, for the next 2 days after you hear this video, and for every Friday, every week where I worked, we initiated, casual Fridays. You wear blue jeans to work. Well, every Friday, come without your mobile. Believe me, after I did this research, I discontinued my mobile account, and I have discontinued a lot of the 5G DEW targeting against me. Now, finally, are you interested in being a contact and/or convener for the Model Statute and Treaty Conference in your area of the planet? No matter what country you live in, no matter what province or state you live in, no matter what city, region, jurisdiction, no matter what nationality, gender, whatever you are, you contact us at peace@peaceinspace.org. That's PEACE at PEACEINSPACE.org. Thank you very much. I'm Alfred Lambremont Weber. May you have a wonderful day, year, and life. Thank you.